Breakout the board games. Hey, hi everyone. Hi and welcome. I'm Matt. I have a special guest here, Bernarda from Tabletop Island. Bernarda, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, man. It's awesome.
Dude, it is awesome to have you on there. Just in the past 24 hours, even though we've talked on YouTube before, it's my grave mistake that I have not made the time to check out his channel, and I did, and I was like, holy cow, this guy's amazing. So I got to get him on. I got to talk to him. And so thank you for coming on. I don't know where Norm is usually up. He's like Batman. He may be policing the city right now. Who knows? But he usually gets back to me. But I know he's busy, or he would get back to me. If he joins, he joins. And I don't know if Luke, I think he's still, let me see, if he's 8 hours ahead, it ain't time yet. He may be 7 in the morning. Luke, if you wake up and you get this, brother, you're on. You're on. Bed hair. I bet that man has amazing hair no matter what, right? You never know when that guy has bad hair. You have amazing hair, by the way. Might I say?
I let it grow from the first video I did. It's gone a long way. People have even said in the comments, they were like, wait a minute, did your hair get bigger? I was like, it did. And a lot of it was held down too. So now I just stopped holding it down.
It looks great. It looks great. I love the shirt. I dig the whole look. I just want to talk, and I'm going to talk about your channel over and over again as we start picking up viewers here. And anyone who has board gaming questions, you're welcome. I mean, I know you're going to want to ask me some Star Wars questions. I may answer a few, but I want to keep it kind of board gamey here and kind of fun in general, movies, whatever, you know. Bernarda can talk everything. He's Mr. Versatile.
I'm ready. I'm not like very knowledgeable at Star Wars. At least
that's okay. That's why I said lower the Star Wars questions. See, we already lost one viewer. He's like, "Oh, no Star Wars questions. I'm gone."
Oh, no.
Hopefully pick some up. But of course, it is a Friday night. Hello, Teresa. How are you, ma'am? It's good to see you. Anyway, so is that wrapping paper? Is that Christmas wrapping paper?
So this is actually a tablecloth. So when I do my board game nights, I play on a pool table, and friends can get a little messy sometimes. So I put this tablecloth, and I ended up putting it around Christmas time, and that is
a smart idea. Wow. Yeah, I should have put a tablecloth around me, because just this past game night, I'm trying to be a better host. I'm a terrible host. If you come over to my house and you're like, Matt, do you have anything to drink? I'm saying, yeah, go in the kitchen, get whatever you want.
I'm getting better too.
Why can't I get up and get you something? It's my house. I should be serving you. And it's like, hey, Matt, it's like singularity. What are you talking about, Bruce? Singularity? Is that what yay or nay? Bruce is from my other podcast, Prince of the Universe, and he lives right around the corner from me. But anyway, and then like the other day he goes, I said, well, if I'm hungry, well, look in the cabinet. There could be something there. Dude, why can't I look in my own cabinets and get him something? So I said, well, this year you have nothing in your kitchen. I have tons of stuff in my kitchen. Not anymore. Well, he went and got the Cheez-Its out of there this weekend. I was like, dude, what are you doing eating Cheez-Its? I said, I got stuff in there. Hold on. I had popcorn. I had Fritos, and I made little hot dog weenies. The little, I don't know what they're called, in the barbecue sauce, you know, the Smokies. I think that's what they're called, Smokies. And they're like, oh, wow. So I'm trying to be a better host in 2020, because I'm really not. But when I was doing all the hosting, I knocked over someone's tea. Someone had some hot tea, and I knocked it straight over, because I didn't see it was behind the popcorn bucket. And I was trying to push the popcorn bucket out of the way to make room on the table, and everyone's horror, you know, the cup spills. And fortunately and unfortunately, it fell off the table. So It didn't ruin any in the board game, but it hit the carpet. So I had to do an impromptu cleaning.
Yeah.
So where is the beer? Well, Bruce, you bring the beer. You bring the beer. Oh, and speaking of, Bruce spilled beer in my recording studio, which is also my game room, which is also my library, which is also very small.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get shelving for the games. If I could show you what this chaos looks like, I actually have kind of a stack here. Here, I'll show you of the new stuff.
Here we go. Get a tour.
You'll see
behind
this is
the scenes.
Just the new stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
I got solid deals, man.
I want to get into this a little bit. You review a lot of vintage games, and you review new games too. Now let me see. If I'm not mistaken, Mondays is the vintage game, Wednesday is the weekly update, and Friday is the new game.
Flip flop. So
Flipped it.
Monday's
Flipped it.
the
Like,
new
okay,
game, Friday's
sorry,
you're good.
sorry. Okay, so Monday's the new game, and those are always interesting. There's a lot of them I'm familiar with. Wednesday is the weekly update. Man does weekly update. I do monthly updates because nothing interesting happens to me. But he's doing weekly updates, but it's interesting because you're showing what you're bringing to your show. And you have this show, you have this theme. And if anyone has ever watched, and you got to watch the channel, you got to subscribe to Tabletop Island. Okay, subscribe. And see, look, just like that, he's gone.
No,
He's gone. Like, oh, you froze. Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah, Volcar. There you go. Oh, yeah. He even plays games with Volcar from time to time.
I'm a weeb. Yeah, he's kind of the essence, the theme adding. He's gonna eventually have more of a prominent role and some crazy stuff down the line. But
you're already playing cards with him in video. I just binged all his videos recently. So, but it starts off. There's a little intro, which is really cool. You're digging through the sand. You find a VHS of your show. So you made that cover. I'm assuming you made that VHS cover.
Yeah.
It looks good too. Like I don't have any of that talent. Do you do your own art? The Tabletop Island art?
Yeah, I'm actually a multimedia designer, so I do video production, graphic design, but specifically for the art of me drawn as a cartoon and Volcar as a cartoon, I actually had an artist, a good friend of mine, do it. I'm real critical when it comes to like drawing like that kind of stuff for myself. So I know that he specializes in that kind of art style. So I knew he was the man for it, and he did a fantastic job.
Okay, and this kind of leads in because you and Luke have the same type of background. Luke works a lot with editing and stuff like that, so he has a lot of skill, and the skill shows in your channel. You put a lot of work and effort in it, and so it looks like, just to kind of talk about how the theme's set up, that he pops the VHS into the VCR, and now you're watching the VCR copy of his review, and you got the little tracking lines and everything in it from time to time. And the one thing that I love, I don't even know if it's done on purpose here, you created your own little, you don't have a green screen, you have this beautiful background that you've made up. It looks like, I mean, seriously, it does look nice. It's like it's a set, but it looks like a magical set from like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, when he goes to Neverland or whatever that place, the place of make believe. It almost looks like that. You got these big fluffy looking clouds, and you made those because every once in a while you bump into it and the thing moves. And I love that. But it's also, I don't know, I'm assuming, because we did not talk about this prior to the podcast, prior to coming on live. You did that on purpose to match the theme?
So I wanted to build an island theme. There's actually a couple key points there because I get argued with a lot of my video friends. They're like, I don't like the background because it's a sheet. And one of the big reasons why, and I make sure on the corner that it's crinkled, because like back then in all of those videos that they had green screens and stuff or any sheets, they were always crinkled. And that was always hilarious to me, like looking back at some of those videos.
I knew it was done on purpose.
Yeah, the clouds. Yeah, all that was definitely... and I'm building onto it. A lot of the updates I'm going to be building, I'm currently building a 3D island set. So when I review my games in the island, that's more of an ambitious project than I thought, but it should be done in probably another few weeks.
And that's why he has the weekly updates, because he's going to give you what he's working on, what his expectations are for the channel, what he's looking at building. I'll be honest, there's really nothing boring on the channel. I can't say the same about myself, but you really don't have much boring in you. You always wear the nice Hawaiian shirts. You're on the island yourself. You're living the dream. So it's almost a thematic channel too. Again, you got to check out Tabletop Island and sub to them. I'm shilling for them right now. No, I think you have just a fantastic channel, and I really enjoy it. Now, I want to get into vintage games because you are a big vintage game, and there aren't many of us reviewing vintage games. When I say us, I have to hold on to that badge very lightly because in 2019, I seriously cut down on my vintage game reviews because I thought thought I had everything I needed until I watched people like Luke from Down from the Attic, Norm Steele, every once in a while catches me to get one. You yourself have convinced me to buy 2, maybe 3 vintage games I don't have. Um, and some I didn't even know about. Some I knew about, but I never seen played. And I got to see it. You're a big fan of Waddington games.
I am, and I have a lot still to review. I just got my shipment of a few others. I'm a big fan. I like their story, and I like the company itself. I've kind of backtrailed to like individuals who like kind of worked in like marketing for them, and some of the recent games, which I'm so thankful for, they had the original like advertisement sheets, so you can pull it open and see all the games that were out at that time, and that actually helped me a lot. I was like, whoa, I've never seen half of these. This is amazing.
Yeah,
But
and you talked about, and I can't remember which one it was, but you talk about the quality that goes into a Warrington game, and you're correct on this. That some of them even look like they're toys. These look like toys. These should be. No, it was the Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs. He said these should be. These aren't just game pieces. These are like toys. These look. I mean, this is top as children. Games go. They didn't skimp. In America, I feel embarrassed because we did the whole cardboard, fold it in half, and stick it and slide it into this. We went as cheap as we could. Get one die, roll and move. We were lazy in a lot of our games too. Not all of them. We had some real good inventive games. I'm just saying there's a lot of generic bad stuff out there, and we went the cheap route. Whereas I look over across the pond and I see all these Waddington games that look beautiful. And even though they're probably not the best, like the Bigfoot game, I came to that conclusion way before I saw a review on it, but you verified it. But at the same time, it looks amazing.
It does.
It looks amazing. So this is weird. I just talked to Luke from Down from the Attic yesterday, and as we were talking, I asked him, how much do you know about Waddington games? He said there's not much. He knows. I said, I'd love for someone to do a history of Waddington games. What went into their game design? How did they come about? Who were the wizards behind a lot of these games? Because back then you didn't get credit for writing that game. That was the company that came up with the game.
Finding out was hard.
Yeah, finding out's hard. So anything that you can find, if you can do any kind of mini documentary on Waddington games, I would love to see that, because to be honest, Waddington, there's one thing for sure, they cared about their games. It may not have been play tested as well as it should have been, but they definitely care. They put a lot of effort and a lot of love to make the game look good.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I've considered actually doing it for all the companies, because like even with like Restoration Games, we have Rob DeVoe who's a part of it. He worked for Milton and Bradley for years. I didn't know this till recently, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like finding some of these guys who have done this, like the reprint or the game Survive. You remember that Survive?
Oh yeah, I have that game, Atlantis.
That's the same creator for Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs. People don't know that. And that's crazy. Like the connection I'm finding, like the trail for Waddington has actually been pretty exciting. And I actually do plan on doing a video eventually. It's pretty cool.
Well, that makes sense in a lot of ways, because the Survive game uses a lot of some of the same pieces, or it looks very similar pieces to Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs. Now, Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs is one that's been on my kind of wish list for a while. You do a review. Everyone does a review. But what I like about your reviews, and Luke did this too. Luke is the only reason I bought Curse of the Idol, because I read the rules. I said, that looks like garbage. I'm not going to get it. It looks beautiful. I want it, but it plays like garbage. Luke made rules. I went, that makes sense. Let me go it. You put your spin, a lot of spin, and this is how I know you care about the game too, but you put your own spin on Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs. Now, I know it's been a while since I've read the rules on it. I'll be honest. It's been like over a year. And I remember thinking, is that really going to play as well? And you were right in your assessment, because I remember reading the rules a long time ago and thinking the same things you did. But your fixes for that, like putting, I think it was like 3 lava pieces at all times, on the thing.
It works really well.
Well, as you were saying, so, and I love the gun thing. Everyone gets a bullet thing. but a gun can give you 3. And you got me thinking about that when I was reading the rule book. I bet that was some of the things I did not like about it. And I remember thinking about that. I was thinking, huh, okay. And you're turning me around. Now, I don't know if I'm going to drop bank on that, but it looks like a tremendous game. Now, with your rule fixes, how does this work? Do you have a game group that comes over and you say, okay, guys, here's what we're playing today, and they play vintage in newer games, or or you have a different gaming group for vintage and a different gaming group for new games? How's it work?
Yeah, so I have different groups that I play with. A lot of my main board game group, we love vintage games. I'm a big fan of kids games. I love kids games. I love hobby games. I love those kinds of like simplistic games that are fast, because we play some longer games, but we seem to enjoy and remember a lot of the times more when we break through a bunch of games at once and we've gone through, and they're also kind of the group that I test to see like how the game works for like different individuals, different kinds of mindsets. Sometimes a younger group I'll play with too, just to get like an idea of the game if I feel like I don't have enough, like, I guess, research on it, or play with it to like review it, or I feel like there's something I could change that I might revisit it again before I review it, like that
Right.
game specifically.
Right, and I think a lot of people have forgotten or passed over what vintage games can still give us. There's a lot of entertainment. There's a lot of, you even say that in some of your reviews, some of these games, like, guys, this game is incredibly fun. It's just fun. Yeah, it's simple, but it's a really fun game. I really like this. I really like the simplicity of it, and you can have fun with a lot of these vintage games. I used to do something. It's been over a year since I've done this, but we used to have a bunch of the high school / college kids over all the time, and it was mainly there was a central couple, and they always come and bring everyone. Well, they broke up. The power couple broke up, and I was like, oh no. And I was like, who do you be friends with now? And so I said, look, I told the girl, I said, look, is it all right if I invite your boyfriend? Because he is part of the game. She said, no, I want you to invite him. He needs to come. She said, if you don't mind though, can I just come a different time? I was like, absolutely. And she's like, okay, maybe just all girls. I was like, yeah. And so we used to do all girls and me and my wife, of course, and what we do waffles, and we do nothing but vintage games, and they absolutely love that, and that's how I got a lot of my vintage games played. Now I do have a gaming group who would gladly, I think, sit down and play vintage games all night with me too. Thankfully, I don't do it all the time because I know they came for some adult gaming time, but they can appreciate. In fact, we have brought out, I have brought out a vintage game here and there, and say, guys, just check this out, and they always seem to have fun. So I'm thankful that I have a group that doesn't oppose it. Now, I'll be honest, my nephews who are younger, they'll eat those games up. But they are getting older, and we're playing more of the adult games, I noticed, than the children. I shouldn't say children's games, the vintage games. The vintage games. They're vintage. So some of these have, like, you did a review on Swahili, which, by the way, I've never seen one before.
Yes.
The game looks beautiful. You showcase that, and it's interesting. And it's just like Macala, or very similar to Macala.
Yeah, almost the same rules, but like how they added the extra element, and it makes
about taking other people's pawns on the board, about getting to the center is giving you points. I never, ever, ever looked at that game, ever, until I saw your review. I was like, oh my, and it made sense.
$10. Yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah, it's super cheap. It looks beautiful, though. You're absolutely right. I don't think I'd ever seen it showcased before. You did another one from Ideal called Poison Ivy. You admitted not the strongest game. My question is, because I didn't see this in your review, how does setup work? Wouldn't you know which leaves are red, stemmed? By the way, let me back up. Poison Ivy is a game where there's a mound and there's all these little, are they plastic flowers?
Plastic.
I mean, not flowers, excuse me. Plastic Poison Ivy leaves. And it's basically a push your luck. You keep pulling, and you can keep pulling as many as you can until you get one with a red tip or red end on it, and that means it's poison ivy. You're out. You have to plug everything back in. People have to memorize where that poison ivy was to avoid it, and they can go. Now, you can stop at any time, but it's whoever has the most leaves or whoever has, every time you get a poison ivy thing, you have to put a bandage on your finger. If you get 4, you're out. Basically, something like elimination game. Yep. But I didn't know how setup went. That's the one thing or maybe I just missed that.
Yeah.
How does setup go?
I want to say I mentioned when you put it in, you kind of cover the leaves and place it in that way. But honestly, I've played it maybe a total like 4 times. One time we were just talking and did it. We couldn't remember. There's so many pieces
Okay.
on it. Yeah.
That's the question I had was set up on that one. I mean, but you're like, well, it is what it is. I mean, it's kind of simple. But you were talking about and this is the other thing that I like because you were talking about the uniqueness of the game. It's very unique. Whether or not it's that good of a game, it is a unique type of game. That's why you wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, that is me to a T. That is me. You have a lot of Play-Doh games.
I love Play-Doh games.
I know you do.
I do.
I want, and maybe afterwards we'll talk more about this, but I want to get a Play-Doh game. I haven't. I've held out for the longest. I'll tell you why. I love games like Grape Escape. I think that looks awesome. I love that. But how often do you get to smush them grapes? How much do you get to mutilate grapes?
Yeah, I mean, I can say immediately that Grape Escape isn't the first one I would recommend if I think of
Okay,
Play-Doh games.
it
You don't
looks
get
amazing,
enough.
but it doesn't
It
look like you
does.
get
It's so
enough.
fun.
Now,
Yeah.
Splat looks like you get a lot of splat going down. The Looney Tunes one.
Yeah, Looney Tunes one was more disappointing than I wanted it to be, but it was still a really cool game, and I was very surprised to get it sealed, which was like a big thing.
Yeah.
But Chicken Run.
I was gonna say you love you some Chicken Run chicken soup, right? Is that it was called or something? Chicken
pot pie.
Chicken pot pie. Sorry, chicken pot pie.
Yeah.
And you really love that one. You were a big fan of it.
Huge fan.
I also like your sense of humor on the channel where you don't even you do the re-edit, but you leave in the part where you had to look at the box to get the information. Whether that's all for show or you just said, I'm going to put it in because, hey, I can't remember everything.
No,
that's
I
great.
couldn't remember. Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You look at the box and you go, you think I know this, but it's like, so, and then the clip goes to you going, this game came out in 1969. I started laughing. I was like, that is hilarious. He left the clip in there on purpose. You know, I thought that was pretty funny. But, okay, so you're right about the splat factor. And, Bruce, if you're still watching, you might want to get the Hulk Smash. What's it called?
Yes, that's another one. There's the Godzilla one and the Hulk Smash, which
is basically the same game.
Yeah. And I put in the recently in the title for it, someone left a comment on the Godzilla one and reminded me that the building card actually has an effect. And I was like, I shouldn't have relied on my friend to read the rules. I should have read the rules myself because I entirely missed it. And he was absolutely right. And it's a really good rule.
There's a simple rule at my house. If you play a game with me the first time, there is a 50-50 chance I am going to read a rule wrong. We have played games where I've gone back the next day and gone, oh man, I thought it was a rule break. I said, oh man, this is stupid. Why don't they have a rule about this? They did. Or I read something wrong. I am notorious for doing that and apologizing the next day to everyone. Like me and my buddy had this big knockdown drag out battle where I barely won. He is there any tiebreaker? I said, no, there is no tiebreaker. I mean, there's no extra points for resources. And I was like, yay. Well, this instruction manual, I might have to blame the instruction manual here. The rules for extra points for leftover resources was on the back cover of the instructions. Like game end scoring was the last page. And there was nothing else. But if you turn to the back cover, and here's what extra supplies cost. Dude, why'd you put that on the back cover? I'm just looking at the page. I'm just looking at game ending scoring, and it felt like it was the end. It didn't say continued on the back of the instruction manual. And the next day when I was picking it out to do my review, I saw the back of the instruction manual was up, and I looked and went, oh no. And he actually beat me because I remember how many supplies he had. I said, you had a lot of supplies, right? And he said, yeah. I said, you won. And he was like, yeah. I said, well, it doesn't seem that sweet now. It's the next day after. I got to celebrate the victory. And so I'm notorious for playing a game wrong the first time. I've done that more than once. So you forgetting one little building rule, that's all right.
Yeah, I'm honest. I'm bad with rules too. I was actually gonna do a video about companies that make great rules and companies that scare me with rules. So I got friends
That,
that are really good at understanding rules, and they really help me in like the regular games, obviously.
yeah, that is a good topic because there's a lot of not a lot, but when I see an instruction manual that just outright sucks, outright, well, it gets too busy. They don't know how to deliver messages. There's a way. I don't know if listeners know this. I'm a trainer. I think people know that I'm a corporate trainer, and there's a way that you structure and teach someone something, and you have to have the structure. And some people who write rules, they go they zig like what's a good one? Attack. If you know that from Eagle Griffin Games, it's a war game. It's a WW2 war game called Attack. It's super cheap online, and that's because the rule book sucks.
Hmm.
The rule book sucks. The pieces look great. They're these plastic army pieces, boats, tanks, airplanes. I mean, and you can get this big expanded map to go over the entire world. It's like Risk on steroids. And I gave it to my buddy who's a war game person, but even he hasn't played it yet because he can't understand all the rules. And you look at online videos, and some people do a decent job explaining the rules, but not all of them.
Yeah.
Because even they are the thing is, when you're reviewing a game, I don't think a lot of people know this. People tend to skip. I love Tom Vassell. I love Tom Vassell. I love the man. He's a great guy. I've spoken to him several times. I even got to be on the Dice Tower once. That was really nice.
Right.
But the thing is, he is a terrible reviewer. I like to hear what he has to say about a game, but reviewing, he skips over stuff. Now, whether that's done on purpose to save time, he doesn't want to talk about it. But usually, whenever I watch a review from Tom, and I do, I skip straight to his final thoughts because I can't watch his review, and it ticks me off if he's the only one on YouTube with a review. I'm like, no. And then, but some people just do bad reviews. Like, I don't want to call it too many names, but someone reviewed the game Nobleman. Nobleman is a great game, but the way this guy reviewed it, it does not look good. And he even admitted, he said, I may have goofed a little bit on explaining how this game works. But the game looks so pretty, I had to get it. It's a great game. I've convinced like 3 or 4 people ever since my review came out to go buy that game. It's dirt cheap too. I remember one guy was saying one guy on Board Game Geek said, these are free games, but you just have to pay for shipping. And Nobleman was one of them. I was like, what? Now, it could be that the rules were written a little. I don't think the rules were written that bad either. But rules can damage a game no matter how good the
100%.
game may be. But the thing is, if you're not clear on the rules, now, I don't know if you're familiar with, I see Tony's on here. Zombies is what he says. Zombies is one of my gateway games. Got me back into the hobby. It's by Twilight Creations. Twilight Creations goosey on the rules. So they say, if you don't know, you just interpret it the way you want. You know, they're like house rules are fine. You know, it is a lazy out, but at the same time, I enjoy it. but you can't afford to be that, especially if you have a mass production. And I hate that you have this great looking game that has terrible rules to it, or not. They weren't well thought out, and obviously, in some cases, I don't think the game was play tested. A guy sent me a copy of his card game, and I destroyed it. And the thing is, he was kind. He said, "Well, I appreciate your honest review. You know, I hate that you didn't like the game." He said, "By the way, you got one of the rules wrong." I'm like, dude, we read it that way, and I said, "There's no way that's the rule. That is a terrible rule." Because we thought about it. We said, "Because it'll break the game." I can't remember what the rule was. But I was like, then why would you ever do that? And we all looked at each other. Yeah, why? I went, it can't be that. So we skipped that. And during my review, I said, you do this. He goes, no, you do it that way. I went, that makes the game worse. You know, I mean, it was just like, and he just didn't have good rules written, and he didn't have any new mechanics there either. But what do you look for when I'm doing all the talking here, and that's not what I wanted to do.
No, hey,
that is not what I want to do. What do you look for when you go to search? Obviously, you have a Waddington manual, but what else do you look for? Do you just, because I've done, here's the thing, Bernardo, I have gone online. I have looked at Waddington. I've looked at these games, but I will miss games like Poison Ivy and stuff. I didn't even know about that. How do you find out about these? And like when I talk to Luke is constantly saying, oh, hey, by the way, Matt, have you checked out? And this is a terrible Luke impersonation. Have you checked out this game? I'm like, I've never even heard of that game. It's a very unique mechanism too, and it's nothing. I mean, the man's just a fountain of knowledge. And I said, how do you find? He looks through old catalogs, old toy catalogs. He said, is what he
Yeah,
does. But
yeah.
where do you get your information?
Yeah, no, I actually online toy catalogs you can find too. I remember I'll never forget watching that podcast with you two, and I was like, you guys were both naming games, and I'm looking to the side, and I like have almost half of them. And I'm like, I'm getting to them, I promise. It's but finding games, a lot of it is just searching online, like looking at game catalogs. I'll look at what games I enjoyed in what years, and then I'll find game catalogs for that year, and I'll just search it on Google. Or with Board Game Geek, I filtered Waddington, and I went through every one. That was a lot of pages, but I went through every single one.
I did too. I did that one too. I did filter Washington, but Washington has so many. I mean,
Oh,
they got a lot of Milton Bradley and Parker Brothers handoffs from the UK. They were the distributor for it, so you're going to see a million versions of Monopoly and all that
yeah.
kind of stuff. You have to filter through so much. Vincent says he has Washington games. They're fun. Vincent, what Washington games do you like, Vincent? Hey, let me ask you this, tabletop, while he's looking at that one. Have you heard of Dash and Dine from Waddington?
Yeah, it's with the guy who's holding the thing, right?
The platter. It's like
Yeah,
it
it's
seems
on
like a
my
race
list.
game with
I
a
have
salt
it.
shaker.
Yeah, it's on my list. It's super cool.
I don't know. I know that we did me and Luke did a top 10 vintage games we want or something, and
Yep.
Norm did it too, I think. And I don't think I had Dash and Dine on there, but I should have. I know I had Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs. Some of mine I'm changing up too because I had Hawaiian Punch on there because I said I don't know, but see, you have made me discover a lot more Play-Doh games. So now I'm done. I don't want Hawaiian Punch. I changed my mind. There's other games out there that I probably want more than that. So that's just like I said, that's another great reason to watch Tabletop Island because you're going to see games, and you even say this. You said I didn't see a review on YouTube, and I'm like, I didn't even know about this game. You're reviewing it for the first time, and I mean, I've done that before. It's really cool to be the first one to ever review
I
this.
started there too, and there was a time where, like, let me be honest with you, Poison Ivy. I saw it and I was like, no one's reviewed this. I want to be the first. I went in thinking it looked cool, but having that feeling in the back of my mind that it wasn't going to be that great of a game. But there was a point where I was really looking for rare games, and there's times where I still do. Like there was one Luke talked about that I had sealed, which I'm super excited for, but it's kind of on the back end in terms of my reviews. It was called Immortals of Change. It was like the crossbows and catapults kind of game, but with robots.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, you're right, because I've been trying to get crossbows and catapults, but it cost a fortune. I got this game really cheap. But yeah, crossbows and catapults, that's on my list.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. So Vincent says Hawaiian Punch ain't no thing. It's a gimmick. Save your money. Yeah. Well, I know that now, Vincent. The reason I said it is because, and I said this before, I knew about Splat and Bugs. I thought that was fun. I knew about Grape Escape, but I was like, that doesn't seem like you can. It seems like a lot of work, but not much smushing. And I want to do some smushing. And Hawaiian Punch looks like you punch the snot out of them. And of course, it's Hawaiian Punch. Back in the day, the Hawaiian Punch, the old commercials, he'd hit that. You can't have that now, but he would just sock that guy in the face. I just thought it was funny. I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. That's a theme. But it's empty compared to a lot of the ones that you've been showing off and showcasing off. But let me ask you this: what's a game you've been like just so happy to get? What was the last game you're like, ooh, I got it, and it comes in, you're like super excited about this game. May not have been the best game, but you're really excited to get it.
A game I am reviewing for this coming Friday. I've never been this excited for. I was losing sleep. I'm sorry, I'm a weed, but I like Play-Doh games. This is like right up that alley, but it's not Play-Doh, and only one person reviewed it. I saw it and I was like, I've never seen this game, and I'm looking for reviews, and I'm like, only one person reviewed it like 6 years ago. It was like Pixel Dan and Board. He does toys. He's
Okay.
like a toy review, fantastic reviews. But it is called the Slime Monster game. Have you ever heard of that?
I know that game. It's you pour the slime in the back of his throat, and it comes out and pours on people as he's going through the streets.
It is such a cool game. I love the gimmick, and watching the slime just knock somebody over and them having to go back to start is overly satisfying. I'm very excited to review that. I went in thinking it might not be the greatest game too, but I was highly satisfied with it. I very much enjoyed it, but that would be the most recent one.
Okay, awesome. All right, let me get some of these comments up here. Old joke like Captain Crunch. If you're talking about the Captain Crunch board game, I actually have it. I'm keeping it. It's just so unique to me because it's a cereal game. Is it the best game in the world? Absolutely not. But it's unique because it's a cereal game. It's like when I was the first one to review Where's the Beef? From the old Wendy's commercials. Basically a Wendy's game where it's memory. You're going around the board trying to find the beef. You know, there's 4 beef patties, but you can't tell anyone else where they are. You have to leave those cards down. And when you think you know where all 4 patties are, you say, I found the beef. And you have to flip over all 4. You think that would be easy. It's hard. All of us have forgotten where that 4th one was at times. I'm like, no, I know I saw a 4th one. Where was it? Your memory plays it because there's so many seats in the Wendy's restaurant. They don't say Wendy's, but it is a Wendy's restaurant. But I was super happy, and that was super interesting. Is it the best game in the world? No. And I think Norm and I have talked about this on videos before, but there's games that look beautiful, like the Superpowers game. Superman, Batman, Robin. You can play as Wonder Woman and Green Lantern. And it's 3D. It's 3D buildings and everything. And it looks amazing. And it's garbage.
No.
The rules are such garbage. All right, well, hold on. Let's see. We got, I was excited about getting Roombound and Dungeon Alliance. I've never played either. I know Roombound is from the Descent, or maybe Descent is from Roombound. I do play Descent. I do not play Roombound, Vincent. Stockpile is actually one of my favorite games. In fact, I'll go ahead and say it. I got the expansion in. This is one of the games. Have you played Stockpile before?
I've seen it. I haven't played it.
It is well worth your time. Well worth your time. Such a fun game. This is the latest expansion, the Kickstarter. I got it in. I have not played it yet. It's very simple to play. It's just a deck of cards, really. But I do want to test it out, and we are going to try to get it to the table this weekend. I tried last week, and it just wasn't. We had analysis paralysis on what was the game? I got the expansion for Food Chain Magnate. Do you know Food Chain Magnate? No. Okay, it's a great game where you're kind of running your own, obviously, food chain. Unfortunately, well, I shouldn't get to that. That's spoilers. But the expansion does create analysis paralysis because there's choices in the base game of what you can do and where you can grow, but the expansion just gives a billion more choices. So you kind of sit there kind of stunned for a bit. Let's see. Slime Monster is fun. Vincent, do you have the game? Because he's going to review it and it's going to be great.
I'm excited.
Captain Crunch rocks, the cereal or the game? I'll be honest. What I want, the cereal rocks. Okay, hey, let me ask you. Are you a Crunchberry fan or just regular Captain Crunch?
I'm regular. I'm not the biggest Crunchberry fan.
Okay, my wife completely agrees with you. She does not want any Crunchberries in her Captain Crunch. She likes it pure with all Captain Crunch in there. I am a Crunchberry man.
Uh-oh.
I do like me some Crunchberries, but my wife agrees with you. All right, so let me see. Let me make sure I get some comments in here. Evening wear. Let's see. Where's the beef? Is hilarious. It's funny because my friends cheat, and I'm honest when I play. Really, they cheat? How do you cheat? Because so many times, like for a while, I didn't even believe that I had. There were 4 beefs out there. The first time we played, I went, wait, there's not 4, and we flipped over. I was like, well, when I looked at that, I'm sure I looked at that table, but you just forget where you looked over time. And plus, you don't want to be followed. You kind of want to go off on your own to find them all, and you can't switch. Can you switch beefs? I can't remember. But anyway, the game is really hard, but it's a lot of fun. Oh, you just got your expansion too. Have you played it? Have you played the expansion stockpile? Blah, blah, blah. Lords of Water. Oh yeah, Lords of Waterdeep. Have you played that one, Bernardo?
I have.
That's a newer game. Okay,
no.
Vincent. I know everyone talks about that's a great worker placement game. Every time I watch a video about that, I am bored. I love worker placement. By the way, it is my favorite. It is my favorite mechanism in newer board games. I absolutely adore it. and Lords of Waterdeep gives me nothing. And to be honest, I'm in the minority because I know everyone tells me Lords of Waterdeep. I am going to Board Game SpringCon this year, and so maybe I'll add it, but I just don't see the appeal. It's like the Lord of the Rings. What's it called? War of the Ring. That game looks beautiful. And every time I watch a playthrough, I am bored and confused out of my skull. And I love Lord of the Rings. I want to love that game. I just can't. I can't. Let's see. Okay, if I just okay. All right. So anyway, one of the games that you have, which I was very impressed with, is Voice of the Mummy.
I know. I got it. I saw Norm have it right after I looked for it, and I was like, whoa, we got it from the same person who refurbished it. I saw it, and I was like, I have to have that. That is such a unique game.
It uses a mini record.
It's not the only one. I'm actually, I've been waiting. There's one called Seance. It's the predecessor to this game, and it's like you're trying to auction money for someone's estate, and then the record can change each time and tell you how much things are worth, and then you find out if you ended up getting it. It's such a cool idea, and it's on my list. But yeah, I like the idea behind a record player in a game. I think that's amazing.
All right, so is there a, since you relate to that conversation, do you have a wish list of vintage games that you're looking for?
Yeah, maybe actually either tomorrow or Sunday I might pick up one that's on my wish list. Crossbows and Catapults. I know it's this very silly game. My friends love dexterity games, so obviously I play for everyone that I hang out with. So that's a big one. And my big gripe with that is, one, it's very expensive. I'll be honest with you. There aren't good deals for that game. I've looked for a long time, and it is what it is. But this specific one has every expansion attached to it, and it's cheaper than I'm ever going to find it. And I'm at the point where I'm probably going to tip for that. But that's one that's on my wish list. There is one that I can't find ever for sale complete whenever it does hit eBay. It's called King of the Sea by Ideal Games. It is the last one of the canon fighting games that I don't own, which I haven't reviewed yet. But basically, you have this amazing 3D island. And this one specifically is a 2-player game. I'm not a big fan of 2-player games, but this one looks amazing, so I have to try it. It has this really cool, like, almost like these island grooves built into it, and you have these cannons that you're shooting to try to take out the other team. I don't really understand or know much about the gameplay. I'm kind of comparing it to the ones I have because there aren't really any instructions or anything for it. But I am a big fan of how it looks, and I think it will fit really well with some of these other ones that it reminds me of. But that's high on my list. I just can't find it. But yeah,
okay.
That's one.
Question for both of us. You guys are talking about buying games. Out of curiosity, what percent of games that you review have you bought with your own pocket? For me, it's 99%. The only things, and I did say, well, never mind. There's that company that gives me all those party games. I don't even keep those. I review them and I give them away. I've never and then that card game I got, and we threw it away. We threw it away. It was a terrible game. Usually I'm not for throwing away games, but that was a terrible game. And the only game that I received a copy of and kept was Inhotep by Cosmos, because that was a pretty solid game. They gave me all the expansions for it, and I'll be honest, it was a good game. It was a good game, and I said that in my review. But because I kind of mocked them about Mercado, which I think is a better game by Cosmos, I haven't heard from them since. That's okay. But that's in my collection. Inhotep is the only game I've not paid for. Now, by my own money, I do use gift cards that were given to me for Christmas and my birthday, because everyone gets me gift cards, which is great, because they know, well, Matt's going to buy some crazy game with it. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. And then points on my Amazon card. All that kind of stuff gets cashed in for board games, but that's still my money, right? Even if it was gifted. But I don't get gifted many board games myself. But the thing is, I've never asked either. A lot of these companies are really nice, and I'm sure they would give me board games. The thing is, with me, I don't review most of those games. I just don't. I just don't. But Bernardo, how many games did you buy with your own money? What percentage do you think?
I mean, I've gotten games recently from a girlfriend. So that's probably the only percentage I've not bought by myself. I buy about 100%. So far from what
Yeah,
I've reviewed, 100%.
yeah. Me
But
too. I'm the same
yeah,
way. I've also been trading games this year. Um,
I've heard
I,
about that. I haven't partaken in that yet.
yeah, I did my first one. Enjoyed it. And I have really been on a roll. I just completed another trade. It should be coming to me any day now. And by the way, I'm trading for vintage games
Ooh.
because I'm finding that I'm trading newer games for vintage games, and I think and the value is whatever it is to you. To these
100%.
people, a vintage game that could cost 200, $100 online doesn't mean anything if I have that $30 game that they really want or something, and that's fine because it's to each his own. And I try to be fair with the trades. I want to make sure they get the good deal. One guy was just overwhelmed that I was giving him, you know, 2 games for one, and it was a. He said, "You do know this? This is an older game. Are you a collector?" I went, "Yes, I'm a collector." Okay, the box is in great condition. You don't understand. I don't care. I don't expect a vintage game to have a perfect box
Yeah, I
either.
hear you.
And I don't. As long I said, "Is it complete and does it work?" He said, "Yes, everything's complete." I went, to be honest, brother, you have a $120 copy on yourself. So yeah, if you want my two $30 games for your 120, I'll take that deal all day. I'm glad he's happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're
Yeah.
all happy. Because I want to do that. I traded a ton. I mean, a ton of games for Rococo in the expansion, which is way overpriced. I was, I'm not paying that. He goes, yeah, I know. He said, well, just send me a bunch of games. I said, like anything? He went, well, just yeah, just anything, I guess. He said, oh, okay. And I mean, he got a huge box of games,
Hmm.
and he only had to ship me one, but he got well worth. It depends on whether they're playing those games or giving away. I don't know. But I said, I can give you some vintage. I can give you some of this. He's like, yeah, just whatever you don't want. Just
Hmm.
make it. I said, I will. He said, wow. He said, when I asked for a big box, he went, I didn't know what that was. They were unloading off the truck. I was like, yeah, I found a huge box. I found a huge box and sent him stuff. He's like, well, I hope. Did you want any more of my games? I went, nope.
Hmm.
I said, just one, because it helped me clear up my shelves. That's another thing. How many games do you have total in your collection right now? Estimated.
I haven't counted in a while. And here's a fun fact. I actually in March will be my second year doing my first game night. So I'm new to board games in general. So like this mass collection I've built is very recent. Like I would say I may have little over 100 maybe now.
Yeah,
Mixing both vintage and non. Yeah, definitely
that's
higher on
that's
vintage
great.
right now, I think.
There it is. Here you go. It's refreshing that you're buying your own games. Yeah, and I think, and this may be true of Bernarda too. The thing is, for me, I could go to the publisher right now. If y'all know Bauer from Bauer's Board Game Review, he was telling me about that and just saying, yeah, do you just go up and talk to him, Matt? You just do this and that. I was like, yeah, but at the same time, Forrest, I said, I don't want to do all the reviews that you have to do. You have to review some really crappy games. He started laughing. He's like, well, yeah, but I review a lot of good games too. I said, in your opinion, now I love his reviews and everything, and he gets a
I'm a
lot of his
fan
games
too.
in,
Mhm.
but I'm going to call a spade a spade. I'm gonna give your game a fair shot. I'm definitely gonna give it a fair shot. I hope I made a joke about Cosmos because they said, Matt, take anything from our warehouse. What they said. They said anything from the catalog. You pick it, we're sent to you. I didn't really see much. I only had, what did I have before? Smugglers. That was the only Cosmos game I had in my collection, which is a fun little game. And you would like it. It has like not Play-Doh but little clay or something. It's nice.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I said, well, Mercator looks awesome. I said, and I guess I'll get Imhotep since everyone in the world tells me Imhotep's great. And they go, okay, well, we'll send you Imhotep and all the expansions, but we're really not advertising Mercator at this time. So I was like, well, you said anything. So I had it, but I couldn't get over Mercado and how nice it looked. I said, okay, fine. I'm going to use a gift card, buy it on Amazon. I love that game better than an Inhotep. And I said, it's too bad you guys don't want to promote the game. That's really cool. And I don't know, maybe I could reach out to him again, but the thing is, the reason I don't do it is because I just don't want to review all those games. Especially if it's a game I'm not interested in. You and I think, have a lot in common. We like interesting mechanisms. We can appreciate the vintage games while also enjoying the new.
Yeah, I've had a few things come up. I'm very picky with games. I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna review a game that I don't like, but I'm going to make it very few or far between review games that I don't like, because I'm not going to shovel out money for this, and I don't want to work with companies that are going to force me to put a lot of games that I'm not a fan of. And there's very few companies that I could probably name 3 that I would review any one of their board games. And
I'm going to guess 2 of them right now.
Do it.
Restoration Games. All day, every day you would. Haba.
Yeah.
Is Haba one?
Yeah, 100%. Love Haba.
Okay, because you love Haba games. I do too. We're going to talk about Haba games in a minute. What's the third one? Because I'm not sure.
Oh, the third one's actually Renegade Games. And I know that may be surprising for some people, but they've surprised me in a lot of games. Their Power Ranger game I loved. I've never thus far, up until recently, like Pick 'em and Deliver. I've played about 30 to plus, and every one of them was either overly complicated or by the time I understood it, there was no way for me to win, kind of thing. And I get playing them over and over, you can get that victory,
right.
But I'm not a big fan of games that overcomplicate something that could have been done simply. And their game for Terror Below, I haven't reviewed it yet, but I like it. I'm not a Pick Up and Deliver fan, but they changed my mind on it, and it looked cool, so I forced myself to play it, and I'm glad I did.
To me, Renegade Games is climbing on my radar because of their Raiders of the North Sea. Didn't they do that one? I think that's Renegade, right? I see it in R, so I'm assuming that's Renegade. And that really impressed me. They did something else that really impressed me. I'm trying to look at my shelf here, and I don't have it by publisher, and I guess I should. Didn't they do Sentient? I think they did Sentient too, and I really like that one. That one surprised me. But they've had a few hits, sleeper hits for me. I'm a Queen's Game guy. I like a lot of Queen's Game. Queen's Games makes beautiful, simple, interesting mechanisms. In my opinion, now not every Queen game is perfect, but when they hit, it feels like a vintage game that's been brought to today's standards. Nice, neat little mechanisms, and it works, and it's fun, and it's simple, but it's fun, and it's more modern. And I think that's why Queen Games really attracts me. Now, I'll be honest, Tasty Mentor games, they're on my radar too, because I really enjoy them as well. If I see the TMG or the Queen logo, I'll be honest, I'm going to give you a second thought, even if I passed you over.
Queen's a good one. I wish I would have thought of that. Escape, I love those games. I just got, not too long ago, I believe at, not Gen Con, PAX Unplugged, I got the Stone game. I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher the name, but it has like the Infinity Stones, but it's here.
Which one is it?
It's called Runestones.
Runestones. Okay.
So yeah, I got that. Luxor, love those.
Oh, Luxor's fantastic. Okay, so this is a question for you. Did you like the new Dark Tower?
Oh, I want to say he asked me this question because he knows what I'm gonna say, but yes, I actually read it. Thought you said the old one because I actually got some recent cyberbullying, which faded down. A lot of people didn't like that. I didn't like the original and felt that I was too young to be reviewing it. I definitely want to call attention to that because I made a post on the new thing and got everything cleared up. It was fine. I treated it professionally, but it was a pretty big hit. Like, people didn't like that I hated the original one, but the new one is awesome, and I did get to play test it.
I will say that being older and everything, people get kind of possessive over their games. Like, I get heat all the time because I said, well, Hero Quest looks neat, but I really like Dark World better. And they're like, no, Matt, come on, Dark World's a joke. Dark World's really interesting to me. And Hero Quest, I could take or leave it. But when I looked at two of them, I said, I'm going to try Dark World. It's not the most popular opinion, but I know that game, Dark Tower, means a lot to people.
It
Norm,
does.
it was his Grail, one of his Grail games, that and Fireball Island. And he sat down, we played it. Now, I don't know what happened to the video of that playthrough. I guess he just didn't think the quality was good, or I wasn't that entertaining. But we did a playthrough on it. And the thing is, I agree with you. I was not impressed with Dark Tower.
But I added my respect. I said, I get the nostalgia, but I'm never going to review a game of nostalgia. Obviously, I didn't grow up in the time of a lot of these games, and I don't feel it's a fair way to review a game anyway. I went based off of game design, and I think Restoration Games changed it for a reason, and it looks great. I'm not disappointed with it being an app because people had gripes on that. I think the game really works well, and what they've changed to, from what I've been hearing, is even better, and I backed it without even thinking about it. In fact, I woke up and just did all in. I didn't even read what I was getting. That's how excited I was. Great game.
Oh, Vincent, you're in a very small group of people like myself who think that. But one of the things, and this is the thing, I'm fine with apps are replacing what the electric board game was, and I understand that. And sometimes I like the app for Fireball Island. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
think of this the
That's my favorite
soundtrack.
game. But yeah,
Yeah, I love that game. It's funny because it was I got the exactly 30 years almost to the day. I'd gotten the original when the new one came out and came to my house, because my earliest journal post was I had a little Jedi journal. My first post was January 1st of 89 or something. I can't remember, 88, whenever the game came out the year prior. And I said, for Christmas, I got it. I got the Fireball Island game because I've been wanting that game, and my grandmother got it for me. And that was the first paragraph. I think I even revealed that in my review of it, maybe. But the thing is, though, that was something that was always big. And now, 30 years later, it came full circle, and I got the new version in around the holidays, and it is magnificent. Restoration Games, whatever they come out with, and I hope they do another island expansion. You have Spider Springs.
I got them all. And
I want to see another one.
Box one too. Did you see the little box one? A lot of people don't know about it.
The box of game, the pack of cards.
Yeah.
The treasure trove.
Yeah.
I backed the whole thing on Kickstarter.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I didn't get there in time, but I picked up all the Kickstarter stuff.
But it's an amazing game. I love them all. They're my children. I can't wait till they do another one to expand the other side of the island. And to be honest, they can keep making those to Kingdom Come. I'm not going to complain because they just it's just such a fun game. And the thing I love about the new Fireball Island is there's so many ways to score points. You don't know what the game plan is. You just go with the flow, and there's chaos, and you're laughing at the chaos. It's just a fun. The game forces you to enjoy the game. I mean, throwing bees and spiders in the mouth of Volcar. Come on, man. You gotta smile. Even when you're getting eaten up by bees and snakes, and you're like, dang, this sucks, but I'm having so much fun.
And one thing too I wanted to talk about eventually on my channel was the psychology of board gaming. I thought it was interesting when I was listening to Rob DeVoe talk about it for Fireball Island, how things that he has to change when he restores games because people don't really think about it. Like Fireball Island, the original one, he had to change the level of the board to make the marbles go down fast because people in their head remember those marbles going by quick. But if you look at the original one, those marbles don't go down quick at all. It's rather slow. But like that psychology of like time kind of.
That is interesting.
I find that super interesting. And apparently there's a lot of other things that they've done. I don't know what they are. So that's something I would like to get more info on too. I think that's cool. Since you're on the subject, sorry.
So one other thing I want to ask you about Haba games. You're a big Haba game fan. I do enjoy Haba. I have a handful of Haba because I'm very careful. I do intend at BGG SpringCon to start playing more Haba games. Okay, because I want to see what else is there. Of course, Rhino Hero and Instant Hit, whether you're a kid, whether you're with your adult gaming group, that or Superhero.
That's my favorite one.
You can play those all day with anyone. Those are not just kid games. Those break the boundaries for me. Inquisaro is another one that I have that actually has a lot of strategy involved with it. This is supposed to be children, family friendly games, and they can be, but it's got a lot of strategy, more than you'd think. What are I kind of know the answer here, but what are some other hobby games that you say are just they break the boundaries? You know, they're not just for kids.
Well, I don't know how well this breaks it, but Wobble King, I've recently been playing. I thought it was such a silly game, but yeah,
You had the
I
lion doing
enjoyed
the
it.
wobble.
Yeah,
I
I
saw that too. I knew that
yeah
was going to be one of yours.
yeah
That
the
I want to
Viking.
play that. And then, have you seen the dragon one? I don't remember what it's called. The dragon's pulling the castle.
I
He's got
have
the
it. It's
string.
still sealed. I haven't got to that where you gotta like use those little stencils to push the
Yeah,
princess once you get there. That's
you saw on
cool.
time. I want to see that because we got it out for BGG SpringCon, but it was the last day. We were stuck on. We had a stack of games. Like, guys, I'm gonna be honest because I tried to set up the game. I was reading the rules. I went, guys, I gotta be honest with you. I want to play other games. If we have time, we'll go back and get this. But right now, I just want to finish off these last few games. And so we boxed it up, and we didn't have time to pick it back up again. We didn't regret it either because we enjoyed the games we had that were a little bit more heavier. But I do want to return back to that game. Have you played it before? You just saw it.
I own it. It's sealed. I haven't got to it yet. It's on my list. I when I saw it, I thought it was an amazing looking board. Um, but yeah, no, I have most of Habba's games. Valley of the Vikings is probably one of their best games
As a
of all
funny,
time.
you do a sports commentary as they're bowling and taking everyone out. I'll be honest, it doesn't. I'll watch it again,
Mm-hmm.
but you were entertaining. The game, not as much to me, but you were entertaining in that.
Fair, and
I'll
it's not going to look entertaining. I actually think you have to play it because when I saw it, I didn't really get it, but I felt like they haven't disappointed me yet. I want to give it a try. We played it. We were just laughing because like it's impossible to guarantee which ones you can hit, even though you swear you can just do it. And it's such a
okay,
silly game. It is.
okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Afterwards, after this, you're going to give me a list of games, hobby games. Yeah, I'm serious, and
Yeah.
I'll go out there and I'll get them all because I do want to see because I'm very picky about it. But the hobby games I've gotten are good. The other ones, I'm not sure if they break those boundaries, but obviously to you they do, and I do want to give it a shot. Now, Vincent's going to ask me this question: do any of us know? I don't know him. I've never talked to him. Undead Viking. I
No,
I know
not
who he
familiar.
is. I've never talked to him. Forrest knows him. He's good friends. They do the podcast together. Forrest loves him to death. So he's got to be a pretty cool guy. I've just never, I've never spoken to him. If he didn't come to the cons, I've never met him. I've hung out and talked to Rodney Smith from Watch It Play. He's just as nice on camera as he is off camera. He's a super great guy. Chaz Marler and I
Played
talk.
Dark Tower with him. He's great. He's cool.
Chaz is great. He's got a great sense of humor. He's so humble because honestly, the man is super interesting and he doesn't have a big head at all. He's more happy to meet you than you are to meet him. I mean, good heart. Who else have I met in the gaming world? There's someone else. Oh, I haven't met Rado, but rumor has it he lives around Dallas and he comes. That's why he was at both BGG cons. I couldn't go last year because my twin girls were born. This
Mhm.
year I'm going. If Rado's there, I may have to tear off the shirt and run away with it. I
He's
mean,
super knowledgeable, man. Him just
he's fan.
knowing game designers and stuff like that. I don't know if
R-
people can level with that. He's just super knowledgeable. He's entertaining.
Richard Ham has been doing this for years, and he is the most influential YouTube reviewer for me. I have bought so many games based off solely off of Rado Runs Through. He does such a good job explaining the games. He's very humble when he makes mistakes because those marks on there, man, I make mistakes. I get eaten up in the comments. I get beaten. The first review I ever did, I didn't think no one was watching my channel back then. But now that I'm a reviewer, people go back to see my old videos like, wait a minute. There's one I did called Conquest of the Empire. I love the game, but I started including house rules. This is back when I had 20, 35 followers, and most of them were my friends. I just wanted to go over the rules so I wouldn't forget them, and we had house rules, so I included those. And to this day, I will still get the occasional email. You are so wrong about this. There is no rule that the catapult can do this. I didn't clarify house rule back then. I didn't. And I was like, who are you? Why are you commenting on my channel? You know, that was back before I knew anything. But yeah, but house rules sometimes, especially in vintage games, to make them better. And you do that. That's another thing I like about your reviews. You say, okay, this is the rule. This is how we think makes it better. And this is why. You explain why that rule is not as good and why you change it. That's what I love about you and Luke. Like I said, Luke saved Curse of the Idol for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually changed even a few things from that because people just like in my review for that, like the comedy commercial, you're only gonna get for that one if you've played the game. Because like people will just take the villain and play as the villain. They don't even care about their piece anymore, and it's so annoying. Like I got to a point where they were just moving it and sending me to the pit of bones. I'm like, what? I don't even have anything. What are you doing? But yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up here because
okay.
Tabletop and I got some other stuff to talk about, guys. Thanks for joining me on a Friday night. Bernarda, thank you so much. And guys, you're gonna see more of this guy. I'm gonna bring him on the channel more because he needs to come on with Norm. Norm did text me back. He sadly cannot make it.
Okay.
Almost flashed his number on the screen. That'd have been great. Yeah, he couldn't make it tonight. Tonight wasn't working for him, which is fine. But we'll have him on. We'll have Luke on. Hopefully, we'll have you on again. We'll be talking about some board games. I got a fantastic topic. I talked about a topic with Luke. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow and say, no, dude, I got a different idea for a topic. So we're hopefully going to do more of this in the future. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Bernarda, can you go ahead and just pitch your channel, your Twitter, and everything real quick?
Yeah, I am Tabletop Island on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. I am tabletop_island. I couldn't get the full one. I know. But yeah, I do cool, wacky, outrageous board game commercials. And after that, I do reviews for both vintage and regular games. I'm still relatively new to the regular games, but yeah, I'm getting there. And yeah, it'd be awesome if you guys check it out. That'd be tight.
Yeah, guys, check it out. I'm honestly, check it out. It is, if you like vintage games and newer games, it is one of, in my opinion, I've said this about Luke too, and I believe it for both of you. You guys and Norm make really quality content, and guys, it's definitely worth the subscription. So, Bernardo, thanks again for coming on. Everyone else, y'all have a wonderful evening.